Today's topic are women sabotaging women with bad dating advice. Now, I would like to unpack it this way, right? Just so I can start it off. I think there's this misconception that girl code is applied to every woman. Sadly, we have to know that that's not always the case. There's a lot of people, a lot of women, who are friends with other women. Some in relationships, some single or married, and there's a lot of people are miserable in this world. You know what I'm saying? And this goes for both genders, but we're going to talk about the women first, and then at some point we'll definitely I'll bring up the man part. But there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of envy. Some people want what you have, and if they can't have what you have, then they don't want you to have it either. And I think that's pretty sad. It's pretty sad, but that's pretty much the way, how some things go. I think women should be happy for other women who are, in a happy, thriving, fruitful, marriage or a relationship leading to a marriage. I think that is something that ladies, should support from one another. You know what I'm saying? That's a positive part of sisterhood. But the negative part of sisterhood is when it's, I'm going to tell her what to do and I'm going to advise her to do this and do that. And yeah, girl, don't let that man do you like that. You know what I mean? I'm going to. And here's the thing. If it's to save someone, that's one thing. But if it's like, okay, the man, you in a marriage and the husband left his socks on the ground, you better leave him. Like, that's not how mature relationships work. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be advice that's constructive, not destructive. I understand if there's a situation where a woman is unsafe and then someone has to step in and say, okay, you need to leave that. That's different because even a man would tell a woman that, a man would tell a woman, yeah, you need to get out of that abusive relationship. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about bad dating advice from the very beginning. In terms of playing games with a man, like don't play games. If there's a guy who has interest in you, you have interest in him back. It's okay to show that effort. Don't this playing hard to get thing. I mean, I understand people got to have their walls up and defend themselves, but it's to a point because sometimes you could play so hard to get that you can't get got. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the man that you're actually interested in. And so what are we teaching women to run away from? And I will say there have been men who have given women bad dating advice. Of course, AKA Steve Harvey, but that's another subject. Well, actually, that's the same subject, but we'll get to that later. So I want to, Mr. Yard, any thoughts on the topic before we get into our guest?
No, not yet.
Okay. So, hey, Princess, I'm going to get to you in a second, but I'm going to get to Elena because Elena's new here. Elena, I know I kind of monologued in the beginning long enough, but do you get the actual concept of the question?
Yes, I do.
You can expound on it. Go ahead.
Yes, I do. When I first saw the topic last night, I thought, first of all, this is an amazing topic, and it's just a perfect time to talk about it, especially when we have so many things, happening on social media, so many couples, right, that people are idolizing, breaking up, or, just so many relationship gurus online, and, women giving, advice to other women. And then also too, from the aspect of, women in the friend group giving different women, advice. And the first thing I thought about was, kind of thinking about, which side are we coming from, right? So for me personally, I'm a believer. So I know that there's a lot of advice out there that I've received from women or people have tried to give me, and I'm a single woman at that. And really a lot of it I cannot take it in as truth for myself because it does not align with what I believe. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, I do believe that there are some helpful, advice tips out there, but what you cannot do is take advice from someone else and make it as just your truth, if that makes sense. When it comes to all these relationship, tactics and women and even men and saying, oh, this is what it should be like on the first date, or this is what it should be like here, or you should wait a certain X amount of time for that. Personally, I think that each woman has to go based on their own situation. I think, yes, you can get advice, but I think you have to watch who you're getting advice from. And again, it all goes back to which side you're on. Now, are you wanting to connect with a man that is going for the same values as you? That's a huge part. Or are you going from the aspect of just getting what everybody else is getting, right? So I think it also depends on your own mindset and as a woman, and you have to also think for yourself. I think that if a man is showing interest in you, there's nothing wrong with reciprocation, right? You don't have to play games. You don't have to do all of those things, especially we're adults here. I know we've heard that many times. But you can show up and reciprocate to a man that's interested in you. But all the other stuff of, even there was one thing that happened where a lady was upset because a man took her to Cheesecake Factory on a date. And you have women who will tell other women these things that, if he doesn't take you to an expensive restaurant, or if he doesn't do this, if he doesn't do that, he's not a good fit. And those things are not good. Regarding marriage versus single life, I've learned when it comes to advice, I feel that married women should get advice from married women. I'm not saying that you can't have a single friend that can, share some insight and their thoughts on things they've experienced. However, if you are a married woman, it is more safer to get advice from a married woman, and preferably a married woman who is seasoned and can give you advice that can be a great blessing to your life and to your marriage. Regarding single women, we definitely desire that aspect of relationship and that marriage and, that part of it. But at the same time, too, you can't take other people's marriages and idolize that either and say, I want this type of husband, or I need this or that, or I need to be this way to get that person, because that's not how it should be. And so I hope that makes sense. But, again, for me, what I desire is gonna look different from what some other women may desire, and the advice that they may receive as truth. And a lot of advice, as I will say this, that I've seen as a single woman has not been constructive, and I cannot accept it as truth.
Well said. Well said. I like that.